some of you might know and some of you might not, I have 3 younger sisters, and they're at the ages of 12, 11, and 10. And the story that I'm about to tell you is about the youngest one. And she just really gives my parents a run for their money and definitely makes them grow gray hairs quicker than they had wanted. But this story takes place when she was about 5 or 6 and she was going to kindergarten, and she was so excited. She was so excited going to kindergarten. She was so excited to learn to read and write, and she saw her older sisters do it, and so she was finally ready to go to kindergarten. And so every day, she would come up to my mom and she'd go, "Mom, I learned this today," or "I read this today and I made this new friend." And my mom was just so happy for her. My mom said, "That's great. I'm so glad that you're learning and you're enjoying it." So one day, Sterling comes home from school and she goes, "Mom, we did this project today and we're planting things. We're planting flowers and vegetables and all this good stuff." And my mom was like, "Oh, that's great. They get to learn how to take care of the plant and water it and make sure it gets sunlight." Great responsibility lesson for kindergartners, right? And so that was that. My mom didn't think much about it, neither did Sterling. They went on with life. So about a week after that, Sterling comes down with a little bit of a sniffle. Sneezing a little bit, but nothing too serious. And so Mom goes, "All right, it's allergy season. We'll just take some cold medicine, knock that right out." Okay. Well, a week after that, Sterling gets worse. You can visibly see that her nose has a little bump in it. She's sneezing all the time. She can't breathe out her nose. Her eyes are watery. And so my mom finally said, "Okay, we'll go to the doctor. We'll see what's going on. If she has a little cold, we'll get some medicine for it." So the doctor's doing her thing, checking Sterling, making sure everything's fine. And the doctor pulls my mom out the side of the door, and the doctor looks at my mom and goes, "Well, we're going to have to perform emergency surgery." My mom's just looking at her. Jaw hits the floor. "Why?" Well, the doctor explained that Sterling stuck a lima bean up her nose and it sprouted. And so obviously my mom is like, "Where in the world did she get a lima bean?" So my mom's thinking, she's scratching her head, and it hits her. The project where they planted flowers and vegetables, that's where she got the lima bean from. And Sterling thought it'd be a great idea to stick it right up her nose and tell nobody about it. So they go back into the room, the doctor's getting her tools ready and seeing how things are, and she's just pulling all this junk out. All the junk, all that junk. And the doctor looks at my mom and she goes, "If you had waited any longer, it would have sprouted further into her nasal cavity and into her brain." I mean, that's pretty serious. At the time, we weren't laughing. It's okay to laugh now because she's fine. But, I mean, it took a small little lima bean for something to grow big and make it serious. And so I was thinking about how I can really relate this back to a Bible lesson, and really it comes down to sin and Satan, and something so small, like a sin so small, can get a hold of us, and we're in the dark about it. We don't tell anybody about it, just like Sterling didn't tell anybody that she stuck a lima bean up her nose, and you can see how it turned out for her. But that's how we can be with our sin. We can not want to tell anybody, not want to expose it. And in a way, the doctor is kind of like God in a way. Without the doctor pulling out all that junk, Sterling would have been practically dead because it would have sprouted into her brain. And since the doctor pulled all the junk out, Sterling was new. She could breathe, she was fine, and in a way, God is like that, He gives us those second chances, and He removes the junk in our life. If we come to Him, we ask for help, if we expose our sin in the light. So, I guess the moral of the story is, don't stick a lima bean up your nose.